welcome back to Twin Row on 12. I'm Morgan, and if you missed last week's video, my husband Rob and I just bought 12 acres of raw land in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. This week we're talking about the 5 most important things that we learned doing farmers markets and why we no longer sell at them.
So the first reason and the most unexpected thing that we found out was just how the market community, the vendors selling there, would be so kind to us. We have 2 examples to talk to you about today, and one is we were sitting up next to a gentleman that just did maple syrup and honey. Well, I got to talking to him and talking about our dreams, our ambitions, our goals for this operation, and I really wanted to grow pumpkins, but we didn't have the space for it. And he's like, well, I've got 42 acres. Why don't you come over to my place and you can grow all your pumpkins over there? So literally, on a whim, we went over there. He tilled up the area for the pumpkins. We planted the pumpkins. We grew the pumpkins there. We sold all the pumpkins. And he did not ask for a dime from us. He didn't want anything from us. He was just happy that the bees were coming in to pollinate the pumpkin plants and then taking it back to his honey hive. The second unexpected community involvement we got was another farm that grew microgreens and some other things that we did as well. They invited us over to their farm to show us their operation and really let us into how they were doing it, how long they've been doing it, and what worked and what didn't. That was a really kind thing. We thought it was going to be this really competitive thing, but they welcomed us with open arms. So the community as a whole was really great, and we got to know a lot of really cool people.
Just to kind of piggyback on that, I have a more competitive spirit just by nature. And so when we saw them there, I was thinking, they're not gonna want anything to do with us because we're the competition. We have so many of the same products. And it was a real mindset shift for me especially, Rob too, but for me especially, because rather than be met with this competitiveness, they said there's plenty of room for everyone. And I was like, whoa, I really need to kind of settle down a little bit and maybe not go in with guns blazing quite as much as I did. It serves me well in other areas of life, but this was just kind of an eye-opening perspective shift for me. The second most important thing that we learned was getting to know your customers. I really made an effort to get to know them and speak to them every week. There's all types of people that come to these markets, and you get a lot of repeat customers, and you're seeing them every week over the course of almost 6 months. So you really get to know them. And I think knowing their names just as they come by your table to say, good morning, Susan, it draws people in. Or if you can't remember their name, if you see them, I saw a lady one time and she always had her grandson with her and he wasn't there one week. And so just being able to say, where's your grandson today really helps to draw them in. And I think that you do almost have to invite them in sometimes because it's so easy. People just kind of browse from a distance. And if you bring them in, find a way to bring them in, it really, I think, increased our sales.
The third most important thing we learned at the market is know your market and fill in the gaps. And what we really mean by that is really go to your market that you want to sell at and scope out what everyone's doing there. It's not saying, we're not saying that you can't grow the same things, but make sure if you do, make sure you bring 1 or 2 things to differentiate yourself from the competition there. One instance was, we saw nobody was growing carrots. So we're like, that's easy, we can grow carrots. So we grew all these carrots, took them to the market and sold all of them. It kept people coming back to our booth week in and week out as we had the carrots. So that really brought people into the booth, and then they learned about microgreens and learned about the different varieties we had and really sold more microgreens because of the carrots.
And also, just having something unusual at your table. As we were buying seeds for the season, we bought a couple unusual things. We sold dragon beans, which, have spots and they don't look like your average, just beans. So, people would walk by and be like, whoa, what are those? And the next question would inevitably be like, how do you use these? And so a reason I think that people came to our table is we had something unusual, but then we may have also given them a recipe card with it to show them how to prepare it. So just something to offer them. We also had fairy tale eggplant. So there were plenty of other vendors that had eggplant there, but ours were smaller and speckled. And the amount of times we heard, whoa, look at that tiny eggplant. It maybe didn't always gain us a sale, but we did get attention. Number 4 is selling from abundance. We chose to sell at 2 markets, and there were plenty of times where maybe Rob had to work, or we were doing the winter market and there was only one, and we noticed that the sales where we split up into 2 markets and the sales where we had more stuff to take to 1 market, the sales were pretty much the same, and sometimes even higher when we went to just 1 market. I guess intuitively that makes sense. People love to see big full tables, but in our minds, if we went to 2 markets, we would make more, and maybe not double, but that's kind of what we thought when we started, and that is not true. A good example of this is, I spent 6 months at an outdoor market. We had the same signage, the same type of products each week. And I would watch this lady pass by my table every week. And the very last market we ever attended, we only had 1 market. Rob was there with me, and our tables were piled high. And this woman who had passed by my table every week, she stopped and she said, "Oh, are you new to the market?" And I said, "No, actually, we've been here all season." But that was just, it really goes to show that people notice a full table over a lesser table, maybe not as full or as many offerings. We had the full gamut of products there, and we were stacked. The 5th thing that we learned from growing for farmers markets and attending farmers markets, and I would argue that it's the most important, is to track your numbers. I think it's an overlooked piece of the puzzle, especially when growing for markets, because most of those people, their interest is in growing, and that's definitely more Rob's niche. But I spent time to track the numbers, track our time, which was, I think, more than either one of us would have expected by the end of the season. But especially things that are not going to change no matter how much you sell, like startup costs. Do you need dirt to actually start your beds? Amendments for the beds, seeds, row cover, shade cloth, tools. All these things add up. And if you're going to the market, you're probably going to need a tent. If you have a husband that breaks down his tent by brute force instead of the buttons, you're going to need 2 tents. Do you need shade walls to attach to your tent so your lettuce doesn't wilt within 5 minutes of being there? Coolers, ice packs, packaging, all these things that you need, whether you sell 1 bag of salad or your table sells out. And at the end of the season, I remember asking Rob, what do you think we sold the most of? And he was like, hands down, it was carrots, because we sold a lot of carrots. And it turned out it was our microgreens mix, which it's something that we took every week, but I didn't expect it to have outsold the carrots either. The waste, and you either have to eat it really fast, share it with neighbors, or whatever. That's another really cool thing about the other vendors. At the end of markets, if we had extras, we would trade with people. And I would say our very best trade, we traded several bunches of carrots for bacon, and they seemed happy, but I'm here to tell you that they got the short end of the stick. I say it's the most important thing because you can't ignore the numbers. They're facts, and it's hard data to look at. You can't mix up your emotions into it. And it was the thing that really helped us make the decision to no longer sell at markets.
To kind of close the loop here and sum this all up, we are not anti-farmers market people. I love them. I would do them again if we could, and the time was there, and in the dollars and cents make sense. But in reality, they just didn't for us and our family, and in the way to move our farm forward. support local business, support local farms if you can at all times. They need us now more than ever. It's really important to keep them going. We still go and support the people there.
If you are thinking about doing a market and you never have, please don't let this be a discouragement. If I could go back and make that decision again about whether or not we would start the market, I would still do it, knowing everything that I know now. The information that I learned, the people that I met, the relationships we have now, all of those are, major intangible pros of doing a market. And I don't think we would even be where we are with our microgreens business had we not done the market. So I would hands down do it again. We just aren't doing it right now.
So let us know what you think about farmers markets in general. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Was it worth your time if you did them? Was it not? Let us know in the comments.
So if you want to continue to follow along with our home build, our raw land purchase, all the things that we're doing with our farm and hope to do in the future, we hope that you like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Virginia, and what did I say last time? I'm off to a bad start.
Do it again. Do
I just think you're gonna hate me, Robin. This was me in the basement the other day. This exact sentence like 30 times.
Market page. Golly.
I can't believe.
Well, we have fun.
Oh, we best friends.
We best friends.
Okay, pull it together.
Why? Right.
Hey there, welcome back to Jordan.
Okay. Cut.